Okay, greetings, my fellow people. Today is January 19th, and thank you for tuning in. We have a really special broadcast for you today. We're going to be reading Exodus 11 through 14, or is it 11 through 13? 11 through 13. My apologies. Well, tune into the last one, you'll notice that a lot of things happened. Basically, this Pharaoh guy, the ruler of Egypt currently, he don't care if his people suffer or not. He's just gonna be too stubborn and not let the Hebrews go worship their God. And he got punished, man, from locusts to complete darkness for 3 days, hail that kills everything, all the livestock getting struck dead, frogs in the land, ice, or not ice, lice, yeah, and the blood becoming water. I don't know. I wouldn't want my people to suffer like that. So let's just go ahead and get into this. Exodus 11. This section is called the death of the firstborn announced. And the Lord said to Moses, I'll bring one more plague on Pharaoh and Egypt. Afterward, he will let you go from here. When he lets you go, surely drive out here altogether. So take everyone, leave. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from their neighbor, articles of silver and articles of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. Then Moses said, Thus says the Lord, about midnight I will go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and the firstborn of all the animals. Then there shall be a great cry throughout the land of Egypt, such as was not like before, nor shall ever be again. But against none of the children of Israel shall a dog move its tongue, against man or beast, that you may know that the Lord does make a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. And all these your servants shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out, and all the people who follow you. After that I will go out. Then he went out from Pharaoh in a great anger. But the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh will not heed you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. So Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, and the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go. Bad going. A lot of sadness there. Just imagine your firstborn child dying just because this Pharaoh guy just doesn't let these people go. Alright, now we're on to Exodus 12. So this Passover instituted. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be your beginning of months. It shall be your first month of the year to you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th of this month every man shall take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, and a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the persons, according to each man's need. You shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male for the first year. You shall make it from the sheep or from the goats. Oh, you may take it from the sheep or the goats. Now you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at twilight. And then they shall take some of the blood and put it into 2 doorposts on the inlet of the houses where they eat it. Then they shall eat the flesh that night, roasted in the fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted in a fire, its head with its legs and its entrails. You shall let none of the remains until morning, and what remains of it in the morning you shall burn with fire. And thus you shall eat it, with a belt on your waist, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass over in the land of Egypt on that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Now the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. So this day shall be to you a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an everlasting ordinance. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall remove leaven from your houses. For whomever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that person shall be cut off from Israel. On the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and on the And on the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation for you. No manner of work shall be done on them, but that for everyone must eat that only may be prepared. The only work is to prepare the food. So you shall observe the feast of the unleavened bread, for on this same day I will have brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you shall observe this day throughout your generations as an everlasting ordinance. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. For 7 days no leaven shall be found in your houses, since whoever eats it is leavened. That person shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he is a stranger or a native of the land. You shall eat nothing leavened. In all your dwellings you shall eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for the elders of Israel and said to them, Pick out and take the lambs for yourselves according to your families, and kill the Passover lamb. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in blood that is in the basin, and strike the inlet and the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out the door of the house until morning. For the Lord will pass through to strike the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood on the inlet of the doorpost, the Lord will pass over the door and not allow the destroyer to come into your house and strike you. Yeah, I wonder if that's like every night or if it's just like one day. I don't think. Maybe I missed it, but I was wondering what day like the Lord's actually doing the Passover. So anyway, continuing. You shall observe this thing and the ordinance for you and your sons forever. It will come to pass when you come to the land for which the Lord will give you, just as he promised, that you shall keep this service. And it shall be, when your children say to you, What do you mean by this service? That you shall say, It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he struck the Egyptians and delivered our households. So the people bowed their heads and worshipped. Then the children of Israel went away and did so, just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. All right. So he gave them instructions on, how to eat, what to eat, how to prepare it, and put the blood of the sacrifice on the doorposts. And the Lord, he's just going to pass over, continue it every year. The first month, from the 14th day to the 21st day. So now, still in Exodus 12, we are on the 10th plague, the death of the firstborn. See how this plays out. And it came to pass at midnight, the Lord struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the livestock. So Pharaoh rose in the night, he and his servants, all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a household where there was not one dead. Wow. So, on to the Exodus. Then he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise, go out from among my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go. Serve the Lord as you have said. So, I guess finally, Pharaoh's had enough. Told Moses and Aaron, "Get." Also, take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians urged the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, "We shall all be dead." So, the Egyptians, they just want them guys gone so they can stop enduring all that punishment. And the people even today survive all that? Well, we're pretty soft nowadays. But, so the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneaded bowls bound up in their clothes on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moses, and they had asked for the Egyptians articles of silver, gold, and clothing. And the Lord had given the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they granted them whatever they requested. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. Then the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides children. It doesn't say women and children. So, I guess 600,000 men, they're not counting the children, and then probably most of the men had a woman accompanying them and daughters. A mixed multitude went up with them also, and flocks and herds, and a great deal of livestock. They baked unleavened cakes of the dough for which they had brought out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were driven out of Egypt and could not wait, nor they had prepared provisions for themselves. So now the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Egypt was 430 years. Sojourn. Maybe that was like how long the oppression lasted, was 430 years. So it came to pass at the end of 430 years, on that very same day, it came to pass that all the armies of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night of solemn observance to the Lord for bringing them out of the land of Egypt. That is the night the Lord, a solemn observance for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. I apologize. I can't speak words sometimes. So, last section of Exodus 12, Passover regulations. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is an ordinance of the Passover. No foreigner shall eat it, but every man's servant who is bought with money, when you have circumcised him, that he may eat it. A sojourner of a hired servant shall not eat it. In one house it shall be eaten. You shall not carry any of the flesh outside of the house, nor you shall break one of its bones. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native for the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat it. One shall be for the native born and for the stranger who dwells among you." Thus all the children of Israel did, and the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. And it came to pass on that very same day that the Lord brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt according to their armies. On to Exodus 13, the firstborn consecrated. Bear with me just a little bit longer. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and said, "Consecrate to me all the firstborn, whatever opens the womb amongst the children of Israel, both man and beast, it is mine. The feast of unleavened bread." And Moses said to the people, "Remember this day for which you went out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand of the Lord brought you out of the place. No leavened bread shall be eaten. On this day you are going out in the month Abib. And it shall be, when the Lord brings you in the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this month. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and no leavened bread shall be seen among you, nor shall leaven be seen among you in your whole quarters. And you shall tell your son in that day, saying, This is done because of what the Lord did for me when I came from Egypt. It shall be a sign to you on your hand and as a memorial between your eyes, that the Lord's law may be in your mouth. For with strong hand the Lord brought you out of Egypt. For you shall therefore keep this ordinance in its season from year to year. So he's saying, keep up the practice of the Passover, is what I assume he's meaning there with all those rules. So Exodus 13:11, this is the law of the firstborn. And it shall be, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall set apart to the Lord all that the womb opened, that is the firstborn, that comes from every animal you have, and all the males shall be the Lord's. But every firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb, and if you will not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. For all the firstborn of man among your sons you shall redeem. So it shall be, when your son asks you in time to come, saying, What is this? That you say to him, By the strength of the hand of the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh was stubborn about letting us go, that the Lord killed all of the firstborn of Egypt, the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to the Lord all the males that open the womb, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. It shall be a sign on your hands and your frontlets between your eyes, for by strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not as good at reading between the lines, but it seems like they gotta kill the firstborn child, the firstborn male animal, or like firstborn male child and the firstborn male animal. But let me know what y'all think. This is the wilderness way, Exodus 13:17. Then it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, Lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. So it looks like they're not going through the Philistines, they're going an alternate route to get to the land of the Canaanites. Just in case they didn't change their mind if they saw war and wanted to return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up in orderly ranks out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. So they took the journey from the Succoth and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from the before his people. So yeah, it looks like they finally escaped the oppression. They learned about the Sabbath, and they're going to start honoring that every year in the future. And they're finally on their way out of Egypt after it took every firstborn thing dying for the Pharaoh to finally say, all right, get lost. I'm tired of all this punishment. So that'll do it for us. Exodus 11 through 13. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, give me some feedback, and we'll just keep going from here. Thank you for being on this journey.